Hi, welcome to class, and we are going to be talking today about the three domains and the six kingdoms. The three domains are bacteria, archaea, and eukaryota. Eukaryota is sometimes called eukarya as well, and that is that big guy right here in green, trying to make a star, but it's a little hard with a laptop computer. Bacteria right here in blue is going to be filled with the type of unicellular, meaning one cell, prokaryote, meaning they have no nucleus, organisms that live all over us. Archaea is also unicellular and prokaryote, except they live in very extreme environments. The example written here, halophiles, means they love salt, and thermophiles mean they're heat-loving. So when you see this, archaea, think of the word archaic, meaning really old, they live in very extreme environments. The six kingdoms are eubacteria, archaebacteria, and Protista, Plantae, Animalia, and fungi. Protista, Plantae, Animalia, and fungi are right here because they are all together under the domain eukarya. Eukarya meaning they are all eukaryotic cells or they have nucleus. Okay, they all have a nucleus. Eubacteria is under its own domain, bacteria, and archaebacteria is under the domain archaea. So one domain, one bacteria. The prokaryotic kingdoms are the two bacteria kingdoms. All prokaryotic cells have no nucleus and they are bacteria. Here's a picture of some bacteria. They are single cells and they do contain cell walls. They have no nucleus, which prokaryotic is before the nucleus, no nucleus, or membrane-bound organelles. When we're talking about membrane-bound organelles, we're talking about the larger organelles like the mitochondria, chloroplast, nucleus, endoplasmic reticulum. You may remember some of those words, and we'll get into them in depth when we go into our cell unit. Prokaryotes or bacterial cells can be autotrophs, which are producers. So, like I said in plants, autotrophs make their own food. They can do that through photosynthesis or chemosynthesis, and that both of those happen with bacteria, different types of bacteria, which means they take either light and make food from it, sunlight and make food from it, or chemicals and make food from it. And heterotrophs are consumers or decomposers, meaning they have to have a different food source. Hetero, the prefix meaning different, okay? They also reproduce asexually, which means they just make another copy of themselves. All of their offspring are identical to each other. Archaebacteria, as a kingdom, are prokaryotes, meaning no nucleus, unicellular, meaning one cell. They can be both autotrophic or heterotrophic, and they are asexual and they're called extremophiles. An example here is going to be acid-loving environment, acidophiles. Halophiles love salt, and thermophiles love heat. So very, very extreme environments where nothing else could live, you'll find archaebacteria. Kingdom Eubacteria, they are also prokaryotes and unicellular, autotrophic or heterotrophic, asexual, just like archaebacteria. Now these are the common everyday bacteria. the ones that give you strep throat or skin infections. They make you sick, but they also are all over your body. Most of them won't make you sick. Most of them are really good. You need them to survive. We can use them in foods, so they're the bacteria that are in your yogurt, help you make cheese, all kinds of great uses for the bacteria. So if we go into the domain eukarya, eukarya meaning all eukaryotic cells, they have nucleus. We're going to find the 4 kingdoms: Protista, fungi, plantae, and animalia. So all things that they have in common in under domain eukarya is that DNA is inside a nucleus. They have a nucleus, okay? That is different from any of the bacteria. They reproduce both sexually and asexually. It depends on which kingdom you're in. And most are going to be larger or more complex than prokaryotes. Even the unicellular organisms that are in eukaryota are going to be much bigger than bacteria. Kingdom Protista, start off there. They are eukaryotes. Everything under the domain eukaryota is a eukaryote. They are single-celled and multicellular species, meaning that you can have both single and multicellular. They could be heterotrophs or autotrophs. They have both asexual or sexual reproduction. And examples would be an amoeba, a paramecia, algae, and currently Protista is kind of a catch-all kingdom, meaning if it doesn't fit into animal, it doesn't fit into plant, it doesn't fit into fungus, it's a eukaryote, we're not sure what it does, then we're going to go ahead and just throw it right in there with Protista. So they can be animal-like, they can be plant-like, they can have one cell or many cells make their food or have to eat their food. All different kinds of things. If it doesn't fit somewhere else, it's a protist. This is probably one thing that will change about classification. When I was learning classification, we did not have the 3 domains. They didn't exist at all. We had just the kingdoms, and there were only 5, and we used Monera as one of them instead of bacteria or archaebacteria. We didn't have that differentiation. So as we learn more, we create new categories to help organize things. So kingdom fungi is the next kingdom. It's a eukaryote as well. Most are multicellular, but as we've seen in class, some can be unicellular. There are some, few, but some unicellular fungus. They have cell walls that are made of chitin. We're going to get more into what chitin is when we get into biochemistry. They're heterotrophs, meaning they are consumers and decomposers. They have a different food source. They cannot make their own food. They can reproduce sexually or asexually. And they have extracellular digestion and absorption. So they are going to absorb things. They're outside of their body, okay, to get their food. The kingdom Plantae, eukaryotes as well. All of plants are multicellular. They are all autotrophs, meaning they can do photosynthesis. If it is considered a plant, it is photosynthetic. They can reproduce both asexually or sexually. Trees, flowers, those things that you think of with the pollen and the fruits, those are that's actually sexual reproduction for a plant. They do have cell walls, and their cell walls are going to be rectangular. And it is the food base for all communities, meaning we eat plants, everything eats plants, or it eats something that eats a plant. So if you're an apex predator and you're a carnivore, you are eating something that ate a plant. So this is the food base for everybody. And last but not least, animals. Animalia, they're full of eukaryotes. They're all multicellular. So plants and animals are all multicellular. They are heterotrophs, all of them. I mean, they need a different food source. The picture is a bear eating a fish. They have to have a different food source. They can have asexual or sexual reproduction. There are animals that reproduce asexually, meaning they can just make a clone of themselves. And they move during at least some stage of their life. So movement is something that animals show. It is not something that every thing that is alive shows. It is something that we as animals can do. And we have no cell wall. Animals are the only kingdom that have no cell wall. Every other kingdom has organisms that can have or do have a cell wall. So make sure you know what the kingdoms are. There are 6 of them, from Archaebacteria, Eubacteria, Protista, Fungi, Plantae, and Animalia. You need to know all 6. You need to know the 3 domains and the characteristics that make them unique, how to tell them apart. Have a good day.